You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
My guy, Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons, I didn't really want to talk to him because he's such a diehard Boston fan.
Boston fan.
What does that mean? What did I do?
Patriots.
Why can't we all get along?
He's a giant Yankee guy.
Yes,
you know
I
what
am.
mean? Well, no, he don't know if you want to be a Yankee or Met. He don't know.
I'm a Yankees fan.
When they winning.
And a Giants fan.
You like the Yankees and the Mets? Are you
No.
one of those, like, every time something good
what it
happens
is?
with the New York baseball
I'm a
team,
Yankees
you like
fan.
it?
My dad worked near Yankee Stadium. But I'm
you're from Queens.
So I'm a Yankees fan by heart, but I still root for the Mets.
I don't support that.
That's
That's like having two wives.
I agree.
That's
Nothing wrong
how you
having
like
two
that
wives,
Big
though.
Love show.
No.
And he's a
Okay.
Knicks fan also.
And I'm a Knicks fan.
Right.
And he's coming here with Jets jerseys on, too, by the way.
I have
He's
not.
confused.
So what'd you do during the 2000 World Series? Because I'm always interested when the two teams play and you claim to root
he's a
for both
Yankees
teams.
fan.
I'm a Yankees fan. I'm a
Okay, so you
Yankees
rooted
fan,
against
hands
the
down
team,
Yankees fan.
but when the Mets were in the playoffs this year, you
I
rooted
just
for the
wanted
Mets.
the Mets to win. But I'm a Yankees fan. Like, I go to Yankee games. I will pay for Yankee tickets. I pay for Giants tickets every week.
when
But
the
don't the
Mets was
other-
in the World Series, he had the jacket on, he had the hat
I was
on. Like,
supporting New
stop
York.
it.
It's a New York support.
Stop it.
I don't understand. So, like, the same thing happens with Chicago, with the Cubs and the White Sox. And I didn't like that either. Some of the White Sox, oh, no, it's great for Chicago. The Cubs
it's great.
fans, it was like, no, you should hate the Cubs.
Yeah, and it's not like having two wives. It's like being bisexual.
No.
Ooh.
it's
That's
not.
what it is. Yes,
It's
it is.
not.
Yes, it
It's
is. It's
not,
like being
no.
It's a
bisexual.
bisexual
He
sports
always goes
fan.
there
That's
with
what
it.
it is.
But
Now,
it's bad. Every year I pick a different football team that I root for because I'm not like a diehard fan.
she's just
Yeah.
a hoe.
Why
So
am I?
that's what-
So every year,
So what's the selection for how you pick it?
I don't know. I just be
Like
like
favorite
this year.
player?
Not even. I just be like this year. This is a team that I like, just based off of my instinct.
Based off of your instincts.
It's some bull crap.
I don't even know
That's
what that
it is.
means.
Wait, it is. This is based off of my instinct. Like this year, I like the Detroit Lions.
Oh, that was a good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of an up and
They're
comer.
doing a lot better.
I think 2016's been so weird. I think this is the one year I could actually see the Lions making the Super Bowl.
Stop it.
I mean, think of-
Not over my Cowboys.
Well, think of all the weird shit that's happened this year.
Yeah, like the Dallas Cowboys being
Trump.
11-1.
The Cubs,
True.
Cleveland wins the title. Like
So the
Detroit
Cowboys
is
are
the
like Trump.
natural evolution. And the Cowboys are the Kardashians.
The Cowboys are the
They're the
Kardashians?
Kardashians.
Break it down for me.
Okay. They get a ton of attention whether they're good or not.
That's true.
If they don't have talent, they're still in the headlines every week.
And we've been sucking for years, like the Kardashians.
So this season, the Cowboys are actually good. It would be like if Kim Kardashian was in the Jackie movie or something. and
So
she
who's
was
Kim
an
Kardashian?
Oscar nominee. Who's
Elliot
Jerry
shows
Jones?
his stomach a lot. Elliot shows his stomach a lot.
Nah,
though.
Jerry would be Kris Jenner.
Oh yeah, you're right. Jerry's Chris.
Yeah.
So whoever the quarterback is probably
Dak,
Kim.
baby.
Well, see, that's the thing is I really like Dak.
Okay.
Instinctively, I want to root against the Cowboys, but the last two quarterbacks you've had are both like very likable.
Now listen.
I love Romo. I feel bad for Romo. He's so sad on the sidelines when they
does.
show him. He's holding
He
the
looks so
clipboard.
sad.
You know, he's like rooting for Dak to get
That's
hurt.
evolution, though. Like, I used to be a homosexual, but I'm not anymore. I'm deliberate now. But it's like, that's evolution. You went through it with the Patriots. When y'all had Drew
I did.
Bledsoe. Yeah.
You know what's interesting? You always know with your quarterback. You know with certain things. You know
Mm-hmm.
with your quarterback. Deep down, you know if the guy has it or not. And the Patriot fans were always a little dubious of Bledsoe.
Mm-hmm.
He was big. He was kind of lumbery. He was like a little more athletic of a Brock Osweiler, but he had a great arm.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got hurt and Brady came in, and all of a sudden the team started going better, it was split like in Boston. Like it was a lot like what happened in Dallas, where there were people on this side, people on this side.
Mm-hmm.
But when the team's winning and the team keeps winning,
Everybody's together.
eventually that's it. You just give up, and whoever's on the other side is like, all right, we can't stop this.
And
But
clearly it was the right choice because now Brady's the most winningest quarterback ever in NFL history.
201 wins. But I think with the thing with Dak is he's just so calm.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense to me. And I don't understand how somebody like that falls to the fourth round. These guys have like 20 scouts.
Right.
They're at every game. They're watching every tape. They're breaking down every conceivable thing with all these guys. They meet them. They have interviews. They go to the combines, which are, I mean, we could talk about the combines. That's one of the most fucked up traditions we have in sports. But I don't understand how 125 players or
That's
something
crazy.
get picked ahead of him. Because he clearly has something.
Cerebral. It's mental.
Jay Glazer was saying in like early September, I had him on my show, and he was like, "There's something about Dak. You talk to the guys in the locker room, like he's got that it. He's got that something." And
What did he call it?
Call it like the it factor or something.
What month did he call it, though?
It was before the season.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And when
He's
you
like
think
me
about
then.
it, well, when you think about it, like quarterback's a charisma position.
Yeah.
Because all these guys are somewhat relatively talented, to somewhat of the same degree. But then it comes down to, like, if I'm in the huddle, does my left tackle believe in me?
Right.
If we're down 3, am I nervous? I'm in a dome with 70,000 people yelling at me. I'm on Thanksgiving. There's 35 million people watching my tents. And Dak's just like, that dude just cruises. Even when he did the slide last week, I was really impressed. Like, he stayed in bounds. Like, he was smart enough as a rookie to know, even though they didn't get the first down.
He didn't get the first down, though.
He didn't get the first down, but his instinct was right to be like, I got to stay in bounds. I don't know if a lot of rookies would think that way.
So do you think it's more mental, or does it come down to, like, physical skill in sports? Because he's kind of a case that it's just mental.
So I'm obsessed with this topic. I've had, like, Aaron Rodgers on my show. I had Drew Brees on my podcast. I had Colin Kaepernick on my podcast, actually, and was like, what do you think the breakdown is? If you had to say, like, out of 100%, how much of it is, like, charisma, intangibles, personality? Brees said it was like 80%.
Mental.
Yeah.
That's life, though.
And he was like, it's like preparation, it's hard work, it's the ability to get your teammates to believe in you, it's how you handle adversity. All of them say the same thing. It's like how you handle adversity is the number one thing about a quarterback. Like, if you fuck up, what happens on the next series? Do you shake it off? Like, Rodgers was saying how if you have a long-term memory, that's the worst thing you can have as a quarterback. You go back out there like, oh, fuck, I threw a pick 15 minutes ago. I can't stop thinking about it. He's like, you just got to move on.
Absolutely. That's a good analogy for life.
Like.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about football? I was watching a documentary the other day, and it was like, it's affecting kids so bad. You know, their brains are not fully grown. And
CTE.
It's really messing the kids up.
I don't understand how we have youth football.
Really?
Because all the evidence we have so far is, like, if you get a concussion when your brain's not fully formed yet, if it's like if you're under 15, it's terrible. And if you get 2, like, you're fucked for life, basically.
Well, you know what they even said? They said it's crazy because in the NFL, they don't hit each other during practice. There's no full hitting. But in youth football, they hit 4 times a week, 5 times a week. They said even in high school, they only hit twice a week. So why are they having these kids hitting, at age 7, 8, 9, 10?
I don't understand. I have a 9-year-old son who's built like a tank, who's like all muscle. He doesn't want to play football.
What does he want to do?
He actually wants to be a professional wrestler, which is probably worse. He's doing, like, cannonballs off our couch and stuff. But
would you not want him to play football?
I don't want him to play football. I think, I don't know. I think every parent's different, and it probably depends on where you are in the country, And I think where football goes is probably a little bit like boxing, where you have, in boxing, all of a sudden it became not cool anymore. Boxing was like in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. It was like a great way out for anyone who was poor. And then eventually it became really something that was geared more toward the minorities when you look at what happened in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and foreigners and people like that. And I think with football, it's going to have its little bases, right? Texas, they're always going to play football. It's part of the culture. Like, they'll spend $60 million on a high school football stadium in Texas. Florida, Pennsylvania, anywhere in the South. Yeah. So there's going to be pockets, but I think, I honestly think it's going to be like the election, where wherever the bubble is, if you're inside that bubble, like if you're in Southern California and you're probably leaning toward more the liberal side and you're looking at all the info and you're like, oh, I'm not letting my kid play this. And same thing with, like, New York and things like that. But when you move out toward the red states, I don't think they give a shit. I think
poverty has a lot to do with it too, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you think your kid can get you out the hood by running that ball, you like, go play football.
But let's say you're a 9-year-old kid. Let's say you're living in, I don't know, the outskirts of Dallas. You have no money and you're a great athlete. I would want to play basketball. I look at hoops. I'm like, you have a 20-year career. You're not going to get hurt. You're not going to have head injuries.
What if I ain't got no jump shot, though?
Yeah, basketball's a little more difficult.
But that would be my first pick. And then after that, you look at it, you go, all right, baseball would be great. That's another one. But football would be like my 3rd pick. But the thing is, like,
those contracts aren't guaranteed, and it's a short life.
It's
for
crazy.
Football,
like,
in that field.
Look at Zeke Elliott, right?
Let's look at him.
Who
the
is
best running back in the league right now?
Best running back in the league right now, and just from a gift standpoint, I would say is in the top 5 or 6 I've ever seen.
He's gifted.
My favorite ever is Terrell Davis, who I think never gets the credit. Like, those 2 Terrell Davis years before he got hurt, he was just completely unstoppable. He was at Denver.
You remember the Broncos?
I do, but I don't remember
2 straight Super Bowls.
I don't remember him playing. I remember him though, but
he was a lot like Zeke, where he was just downhill every time. But how many carries does Zeke have? Like, ultimately, think about it. If he has 5 straight 350 carry seasons, what's his body going to look like? And that's why when I watch these games and they're up 20 and they're just pounding him in the line with 4 minutes, I'm like, I'd get him out.
Yeah.
I think every running back has a shelf
and
life.
he still has a rookie contract, so he's not making that much.
He makes a lot off endorsements and stuff like that, though.
It's somebody had this analogy about running backs and porn stars. Like, porn stars only have so many movies, and then after that they're getting a little gamey.
Yeah.
Running backs, same thing. Like, you have how many carries you have? 2,000.
Yeah.
You get a little
6 good seasons at the most.
6 good seasons.
Yeah.
So if you're Zeke Elliott, you could have played every sport. You're looking at a career where you're under a rookie contract the first 4 years. You're taking a ton of punishment. You sign that 1 second contract like what Arian Foster did, or like Gronkowski. Gronkowski's 7 years. He's had like 8 surgeries now.
Hey.
You know, and he's somebody that could have probably played any sport, but now he's had 3 back surgeries. He blew out his knee. He had a high ankle sprain.
Right.
He broke his forearm twice. Like, how many years is that guy going to play? He might be done before he's 30.
I'm shocked to hear that you care about players getting hurt, because I saw you tweet out about Klay Thompson last night, and you was like, he went for 60.
No,
You
that
should've
was
kept
stupid.
him in for history's
That was
sake
whack,
or something.
though.
They should have kept him in. I thought so too.
No,
He's
it's
on fire.
basketball. You
keep
go
him
for
in.
it.
But they worried about him getting hurt, probably.
Well, how's he going to get hurt? He's
He
shooting
got
threes. They're up by 38
Anything
points.
could happen.
People are trying to compare it to like the Warriors going for 73 wins last year. It's totally different. That was a situation where you're playing back-to-back games. You're playing 4 games in 5 nights. You're putting miles on your team that you don't have to. Klay Thompson is like, just go out, play for 5 more minutes, get to 70.
I'm with you.
I spent
selfish,
That's a nice
Bill.
milestone
No,
for
that's
it.
history.
That's
He's on
that's
fire.
fan
history.
selfishness.
I spent 3 years writing a basketball book, and you look at those lists, and those lists are forever. Like David Thompson, 73 points.
Right.
Pete Maravich, 68.
Go down in the books.
Kobe, 81. I was mad like 3 weeks before Kobe got 81. He had 62 against the Mavs after 3 quarters, and he went out. And I actually wrote a column for ESPN magazine. I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're gonna have 5 nights like that in your life. Stay out there, see what you can get. And then he actually did it. Everybody remembers the 81. They had 10-year anniversary, oral histories. They have, a short film about it.
Jalen Rose can't live it down.
Jalen Rose, he stuck with it for his whole life. You guys asked him about that when he was on.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
You know what? He's got awesome sense of humor about that, because
does.
Jalen always says that, he was never the greatest defensive specialist. That's my dude, though.
Nah, Jalen's
You guys
a
were
good
nice
dude.
to him. I watched that whole interview.
We're nice. We just have conversations with people, man.
Yeah.
What do
No,
you
he
think
was
about
good.
Odell Beckham Jr.?
Think he's gay?
I'll tell you.
I wasn't talking about that.
What do you mean?
I was
What
talking
you
about
talking
do with
skill
anything.
level. Like,
Oh,
what's
I'm
wrong
sorry.
with
My
you,
bad.
man?
My fault. I didn't know.
See, well, you're a Giants and a Jets fan, right?
Giants fan.
Giants and Jets.
Giants
Unless the Jets
fan.
are doing well.
No, I'm a Giants
The
fan.
Jets
Or
quit on
unless
their
one of his
coach.
neighbors
Trash.
was a Jet
This
and
week.
you were a Jets fan when one of
Oh,
your
Bart
neighbors,
Scott was your neighbor. Yeah.
Oh, you were
That's why he was a Jets
So he
fan.
was a fan at that point.
sports bigamist.
No, I'm a
He is,
Giants
man.
fan.
He's a hoe.
No, I'm
You're
not
a New
a
York hoe,
Giants
bro.
fan, man.
Whoever's winning. I love Odell. What's interesting is all the kids love Odell, and they don't have a lot of football players like that.
That's because he's fun. He's always like dancing. He hangs out with Drake. He has a good time.
He's nice. He's good. Don't just say because he's.
No,
he
I'm
could
saying
dance.
in
He's really
general,
happy.
though,
That's
why
what
the
I meant by
kids
gay, happy.
love him.
He's good. He gets
he's
busy.
gay like in the 1936.
Yeah, really happy guy.
He's euphoric. You know what the
Gay
thing
go
that,
lucky.
with the with the kids though, they love the one-handed.
Right.
The one-handed catches. So they'll be in like the recess trying to. Oh, I'm gonna do it. My son does it all the time. Let me try to get the Odell, and
He's gifted.
I think he's really
gifted.
gifted,
One of
and
the best
I think
receivers in the league.
I think he's hidden a lot of the Eli attrition that we've seen. Eli's like not that good anymore, and I'm not
I don't wanna
positive
say
he was ever
trash,
good to begin with.
But he's stinking it up recently.
Eli gets these 75-yard touchdowns from Odell where he throws about 8 yards and then Odell runs the other 67.
Yeah.
It's like Eli Manning, 75-yard touchdown. It's like Odell ran 67 of
So
those.
you think it's time for a new quarterback? I've been saying it for 2 years.
I don't think it's time for a new quarterback, and
Yes.
I am the most biased of all time because I'm a Pats fan and he beat me twice. He cost me 2 Super
We're going
Bowls.
to win again this year.
So I had to test Eli.
No, we're going to win again this year.
Well, I'm worried about you guys.
should
Everyone,
be.
the Pats fans, because the Giants are the one team that the fan base is like, we're better than you guys. We're 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Pats have dominated now for 15 years. But the Giants are kind of our kryptonite team.
How do you say Eli's not that good, though? I mean, I'm not a
I'm
Giants
not saying
fan.
that they're good. I'm saying right now,
Right
this
now.
season,
Okay, right
watching
now,
him,
okay,
like
okay.
he was terrible in the
Stinking it
Sunday
up, yeah.
game.
What do you
he
think
just
about?
makes weird decisions.
What do you think about athletes having political views on things and taking a stand? You think that doesn't belong there?
I love it. I totally supported what Kaepernick did. The problem with Kaepernick is the more he said and did, the more it made you go, I don't know if this guy has a master plan. Like the fact that he didn't vote, I thought was really strange.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going to position yourself as, this kind of 2016 version of John Carlos and Tommy Smith, and you're doing stuff with the big picture in mind and all that stuff, how do you then say I'm sitting out the election? My vote doesn't matter.
What did he say? You asked him about that on the podcast, or that was before this?
He admitted he didn't vote.
Okay.
And I don't know, he's done some weird stuff, like wearing a T-shirt that has Fidel Castro on it before a Dolphins game. I think is really tone deaf, and he got rightly criticized for that. I don't know. It's hard for me to separate how much of it was genuine from his heart and how much of it was just him getting attention because he wasn't a relevant quarterback anymore. And it seemed like it was mostly for the right reasons, but I still have my guard up with it.
He was anti-government and anti-establishment from the beginning, though. I thought it would have been weird if, one of the candidates was had a big police reform policy that they was going to implement and was talking about it. And if he didn't vote for that, then I'd have been like, okay, that's a little strange. But just to sit out because he don't believe in the government, I didn't have a problem with that.
What do you guys think of how LeBron handles stuff?
Depends what you're talking about. Be specific. What you mean? Be specific.
Just all the social stuff. Like I thought what he did with Trayvon Martin and the hoodies and the Miami team. I thought that was
dope.
really important
That was good.
and
I thought that was
effective.
dope.
Last night he didn't stay at the Trump Hotel here in New York.
Yeah. He's subtly.
Sometimes he
I
does.
at least feel like he's thinking about it.
Right.
More and more and more.
Jordan was always like, I'm not doing anything that messes with my sales. I
Right.
want to appeal to everybody. I don't want anyone to know what I'm thinking.
Well, Jordan wasn't in the social media era.
No, he
Social
wasn't.
media era put pressure on you to,
I think
stand
do
LeBron has
certain
done
things.
a lot of things that defy what people normally do, like NBA players, as far as the people around him and his team,
I agree.
and it's been working for him.
Well, I will say
love
LeBron has handled it as well as anyone could have possibly handled it. Because when you think about it, hey, I've written about this. He's basically a child actor. Like he's basically had the same forces going against him that like Screech did and Britney Spears and all these people like
didn't work out too well for Screech.
right. and it goes wrong. Michael Jackson, it
Or
goes
Britney.
wrong in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And LeBron was famous from the moment he was 16 years old.
Right.
And he was this poor kid who was sleeping on couches when he was 8 years old and didn't have like a great family infrastructure, and he was like always very tight with his buddies. And it was his circle.
Posse?
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. But he had his boys, and those were his boys, and that was like that became his family. But when you think of all the shit that got thrown on him, he's on the cover of Sports Illustrated. He's playing high school games on ESPN. People are giving him Hummers.
Yeah.
He's got all these people coming at him trying to give him money. And then he goes into the NBA right away. He's really good. And then just the arc of his career, I think he's handled it great.
I think it's because he embraced the hate. Like he didn't fight against it. Like sometimes you just gotta own it.
He did fight against it for like 4 months. Remember that first Miami season? He was playing. He had this anger about him that wasn't him.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was one game he played in Portland, and they were booing him the whole game. And he was just playing so angry, and he had this dunk, and he's staring at the crowd, and I was like, "That's not LeBron. Like, this is like a nice guy. He's not wired like that." So I think he had a lot of trouble, and I think the Warriors, you've seen it this year a little bit. I think they're having trouble. When you go from being this beloved team that's league pass, Curry's catching fire, and everybody's on Twitter, and then all of a sudden you're like the wrestling villain. Draymond loves it. He's meant to do that.
Yeah.
But I think like somebody like Steph Curry, I'm sure he's a little bit like, oh shit, what happened when everybody loved me?
Now I see you and Charlamagne have a lot in common. He gets threatened a lot, and you got threatened by Isiah Thomas, the legend.
I did.
Now,
Isaiah threatened you?
Why did he
On the
threaten
Stephen A. Smith show like 10 years ago.
When I see you, it's on.
Yeah, so I used to make fun of him as the Knicks GM, and rightly so, because he was doing really
he was
strange
horrible. He
stuff.
made some bad moves.
Did you ever ask him if he was gay?
Isiah Thomas? No.
Oh, okay.
Why do you want to ask everybody if they're gay?
I'm just asking.
Is that gay mean
Isaiah
happy?
was kind of like Odell before Odell. Everybody was like, is he? Is he not?
Seriously?
Come on, Bill. You
Because he kissed a
remember.
lot of people on the cheek when
Well,
playing
I mean, him
basketball,
and
but that was-
Magic were kissing each other on the cheeks.
Right.
I'm sure that probably didn't help. Yeah, so he said on Stephen A. that he was talking about that he ever saw him in the street, we'd be in trouble. And then 2 years later,
You saw him in the street.
no, I saw him in Vegas. I was playing blackjack at one of those European places where you're outdoors, you're by the pool, and it's like the girls can be naked, but it's never anybody you want to see
Where
naked.
is that?
Yeah, it's like that. Some of the casinos
what
have
rich,
them.
privileged place
Yeah,
is
I've
this?
never heard of that.
Anyone
Put us
can get in
on.
there. Anyone, it's like one of the
Wait, there's naked people playing cards?
Well, they're
playing
topless.
blackjack?
No, you had like the blackjack table here, and then the pool is over there, and just like people are topless. They call it European, but
I
it's,
think you could do that at the Mandalay Bay.
you can do it at a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. But
So
Okay, so what happened? You and Isaiah had some prostitutes.
no, I ran into Gus Johnson.
Okay.
Remember Gus Johnson, the announcer?
Oh,
he's still there. He
got
did
you.
the Fox game on Sunday.
Yep.
So I've always loved Gus Johnson. I always used to pimp him, and he loved me. And he came over. He was all somber, was like somber Gus Johnson, like not the Gus Johnson you want. He's like, hey man, Isiah's over there. He wants to talk to you. I'm like, all right. Get up from my blackjack table. We go. We have this meeting by this topless pool. I wrote about it in my book. We kind of broke bread. He laid out, like, I get it. I'm a public figure. I disagreed. And he remembered, like, everything I wrote, which I thought was weird.
Did you ever think y'all was going to fight?
No.
And
he would have won. He's taller than I am, and he's a professional athlete. I think he would have kicked my ass.
So he knew everything that you wrote. So that means he was.
He knew it. I was surprised by how much he paid attention to it, and
So
he was like
really
explaining. What was interesting was as he was explaining it, he was kind of winning me over. He's like, the whole league's going small, so I thought when I got Eddie Curry and Zach Randolph, I'd go big. And I'm like, yeah, Isiah, that's pretty good. And then afterwards, I'm like, that's the worst idea I've ever heard. But when somebody's explaining that shit to you in the moment, you're like, oh, all right, maybe.
It made sense.
But yeah, I think I had better odds than you in the 5-on-1.
With Isiah?
When you got jumped?
Yeah, you probably did.
Yeah. 1-on-1, I mean, I might have been able to get lucky.
You could have got one lucky hit.
5-on, like he said, that's way worse.
You got to get the hell out of the Dodge.
Yeah.
5-on-1.
Yeah, you did the right move.
1-on-1, he did better, though. He did better with the 1-on-1.
Did you guys think when Birdman was in here, did you think that was going to get
You
physical?
never know. That's why when you said the story about Isiah, I'm thinking, I wonder if at any point in his mind did he think Isiah may fight me.
That was your Birdman
With us,
moment.
with hip-hop, you never know.
Yeah, that's true.
No, listen, there will never be another Birdman moment like that. That is like the greatest 3 minutes on YouTube. It's incredible. He's mad before the cameras are even on.
He was mad out there. We seen him mad.
Did you guys feel like he was going to jump over the table with you?
Nah,
I didn't really think that.
He was sitting right here, right?
Yeah, he was sitting right there.
Birdman
He was
is
sitting back
older
there
than
like
you,
this.
bro.
I know, but he was angry.
He was very
I never
angry.
want somebody like that angry.
Very upset.
What was
That was
exactly
like the Jim Everett,
Chris Rome.
Chris Rome moment. Yep.
Yeah, but that was
Not Jim Everett, Jim Rome, Chris Rome.
Jim Rome.
Yeah, we was
Jim Rome,
dyslexic
Jim
with it.
Everett.
Yeah.
Yeah, in LA, this guy Jim Rome. There was this Rams quarterback, and he wasn't very good. And Jim Rome always called him Chris Everett, like the tennis player.
Mm-hmm.
So he came on a show, and Jim Everett's like, "I bet you won't call me Chris." And Jim's like, Chris.
Oh.
And the guy flipped the table and like grabbed him and knocked him down. And
Really?
Yeah, it was on ESPN. It's great.
I'm gonna get one of those
I gotta
moments
look
one
that
day.
up.
I can't wait for that.
Well, this is close.
I know.
He's in good shape over there.
good.
And they bet he had to walk by the cameraman.
I'm gonna save that one for next year.
Why was Birdman so mad though?
Charlamagne said that if you're an artist, you're stupid to sign with him because you're not going to get paid to make any money.
He's got a history.
Isn't that true, though?
Yeah, he's got a history. Exactly. He's got a history
I
of not
thought he
paying
was
his
like the
artists.
most famous, people never get paid.
He's up there.
He might
He's
be.
up
He might
there.
up
be.
there.
What's
I
like
hope
the
you
power?
don't run into him on the street. Either.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Birdman. No, you pay everybody.
They don't assault white people.
Well, they don't.
No, they wouldn't.
Have
touch
you ever been threatened by anybody else? Like, has it ever?
I mean,
have
on
you ever-
social media and
just on
emails
social
and stuff
media?
like that.
But I mean, like
the
an
internet.
athlete. Do they get upset
No.
about things that you say ever, or they just take it on the chin?
I'm sure they have. I've definitely run into people where,
It's a little tense.
yeah, it's more coaches, like GMs and people like that, like the people that run the teams. Because I always love making fun of the people that run the teams who make bad decisions. But I think it's sports. People have a good sense of humor about it. I think when it gets tense, it's usually athlete versus athlete, like Odell and Josh Norman last year, which would be like a 30 for 30 episode.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah,
I don't know.
that was
I've
good.
heard
I
so
was at
many
that
different
game.
explanations and stories
Did
for
you hear
that
it was
one.
a lovers' quarrel?
Shut up. Look at damn lovers quarrel.
You created 30 for 30, right?
I
That
did.
was your idea?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was 2007, and now we're on pace to do like 9 of them. The OJ thing, I was still there when the OJ. We always used to talk about OJ week because the original idea was Tyson week, and remember the Shark Week started
Shark
taking
Week,
off
yeah.
6-7 years ago. So I was always like, we should do Tyson week. Who's not watching Tyson week? We'll sell it like Shark Week. But like around 2012. Tyson started doing stuff. Like he was very available. Remember he had like the one-man show. He's doing
Yeah, I
wrote
saw
a
that.
book.
Yeah.
And
And then
it
it had
just,
like the pigeon show.
yeah,
It's too much
yeah.
Tyson.
You learned a lot about Tyson in the
We
time.
learned too much,
I went to go
yeah.
see the stand-up. I read the book. I knew a lot more about him.
Yeah, because my idea for Tyson week was like you take 5 points of his life. I always thought the most fascinating point of his life was the Robin Givens part. Because I think Robin Givens is like one of the most beautiful women who ever lived. I just think she's a knockout, and she just put her charms on Tyson, who was this guy who basically had no family. He just lost his trainer, and he kind of got sucked into Givens and her mom. And they and between those two and Don King, everybody took his money.
I think Robin
and
had a
he
crush
was a
on me at
mess.
one point, man.
But she's beautiful. Boomerang Robin Givens?
No, it wasn't that far back in the game. I was a
Okay.
kid then.
That would have been terrible.
No, I mean, but that Boomerang Robin Givens was amazing. But
yeah.
anyway, so Tyson week, once that didn't happen, we started talking about OJ Week a little bit, and the original thing was supposed to be 3 parts, but by the time I left, Ezra was working on it. And Ezra did that. I thought that was amazing. I hope it wins the Oscar.
I'm not gonna front. I watched that OJ special, and it was about maybe around episode 3 or 4. I was like, did OJ do it? Like, I was questioning myself. I'm like, I'm hitting my friends. We texting. I'm like, yo, but I think OJ might have been.
I feel like a lot of people
a little
thought
bit
that
innocent.
he did
Like,
do it.
Oh, so
it was a moment where I thought OJ didn't do it.
well, then the problem with that theory is then somebody else had to do it.
Yeah.
So who was it?
I don't know, but I got caught up in the whole, police force is corrupt, and he had a thing out for OJ, and they was just trying to frame him. And I got caught up in all of that.
It's a really eye-opening doc because I think for a lot of people, it wasn't for me because I was an OJ junkie, so I read all the books. And, like, I experienced it in Boston. I'm living in Boston in the mid-'90s, which is, like, one of the whitest places on the earth. And we're just experiencing that whole trial and the verdict from the, oh, my God, I can't believe he did it, and completely tone deaf to all the reasons that the black community were just happy to get a win. They didn't even care. Yeah. And that's really what the doc is about. And I thought it was so brilliant how he laid out just all the LA stuff, just everything that leads up to this moment. And I think for a lot of people, they watch that and go, oh, now I get it. Now I at least understand why there were these 2 sides and this other side felt one way and then this side felt this way.
It wasn't like we were just rooting for some maniac murderer.
It was like, we won.
It was like, we got a W.
You think he did it?
Yes. My theory has always been, I think OJ was probably a drug guy at some point because he played football for years and years.
All right, be careful, Bill. He might get out. No,
wait, when's he get out?
Never.
I don't think OJ did it.
He's not getting out.
The best part was the post-trial.
Well,
because y'all showed him in the house, and he was like, I'm going to catch the person who did this. I'm like,
yeah.
What?
And then what about when he was going to do the book? If I would have did it, like he had a book.
We should have let him do that book. They should have let him do that.
They should let him do it. I think he was smoking crystal meth with Kato at McDonald's. I've been a believer in that theory. And I think he went over to her house, and I think he probably stalked her, and he probably saw something he didn't like, and he just snapped. Because it was such a violent crime. It wasn't and it wasn't a burglary. Nothing got taken. I don't see how anybody else would have done it. I remember doing the internet deep dive on his son, and maybe the son was crazy, and the son hated how she treated his dad, but it doesn't hold up, and it also doesn't explain like why his blood was all over the place. That's the thing. Like,
that's true, man.
I was just out of college in the early '90s. Like, the DNA stuff went over everybody's head. They're laying out the case with the blood and the percentages, and we didn't understand it because they didn't have CSI back then.
We just know the glove didn't fit.
Yeah.
We knew the glove didn't fit.
Yeah. It's like,
Johnny got in that courtroom and spit that bar. People love rhymes, bro. If you can spit a bar, once he spit that bar, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Whoa! Not guilty.
Johnny was.
He's not 21 Savage, man.
And by all accounts, so charismatic in the courtroom.
He's a rapper.
And just the whole thing. And the fact that there's Kardashian ties to that whole OJ trial.
Yeah.
Is like the weird epilogue of the whole thing.
I wonder who owns OJ's life rights.
Probably OJ, right?
Probably not.
He's
I
alive.
think probably the family. They sued and got everything, I would think. They got everything.
The part I never knew with the documentary was I never knew the whole part about he had this whole second life where OJ, like the party guy, he was like having threesomes, like after he got out. I never knew about that.
Listen, I saw him hold on, I was in Miami one time.
Uh-oh.
And I ran into OJ in the restaurant. He was at Prime 112, and I remember he came in there, and I was like, oh my God, there goes OJ. This is, right
Did he
before
have
he
a
went
knife?
back to jail. He had 2 white women with him, and he was partying it up. And when I tell you, everybody was so excited to see OJ, the waiter dropped the tray because he was so excited when he walked in with all the drinks on it and everything, and everybody was coming up to him like, yo, it's OJ. And I was like, wow. And it wasn't like black, it was all white people going up to him.
He killed a white woman in America and got away with it, okay? He's the 8th wonder of the world.
They were excited to see
and
OJ.
the waiter. Don't forget the waiter.
And the waiter.
Yeah.
Now,
what chain of events would have led to you spending the night with OJ?
I would never spend the night with OJ ever.
There's no chain of events at all?
No,
Nothing?
not at all. Nothing.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure.
Charlamagne would do it before me.
Oh, it's spending the night with OJ?
Charlamagne?
Why? I would never spend the night with OJ. Now, Bill, you're the type of person that people love to see lose, right?
Yeah.
And I noticed that after your HBO show got canceled, they had articles like top 10 reasons why Bill Simmons' show flopped, and Bill Simmons has a weaker voice.
You were on
now.
that show. You were good.
I was. I thought it was a great show. But
Thanks.
why you think people just wanted to see you fail so bad?
I think isn't that part of all this stuff? Like when you have some success with anything, I think at some point people are like, "Fuck this guy."
They want to see you fail, and then they want to see you succeed again.
Right.
Yeah, it's like whatever. I mean, my whole attitude is I'm really glad I tried it. I learned a lot. I would do 100 things differently, but it's on to the next one. You know, it's like, man, I have a 40-year career. You're not gonna do everything perfectly.
Right.
You're still there though. Like you still gotta.
Yeah. We're just gotta figure out the next thing.
Gotcha.
But they've been great. I love the HBO family, all that stuff. But you know, I there's a bunch of things I would do differently. I think the biggest thing is, I thought the show, in retrospect, I wish it had been monthly. I think it's really hard to do a weekly show and just kind of pop in and out and be like, here's my take. That because the way the sports cycle goes with that 24/7, you know, on Monday morning, everybody's banging podcasts and all those FS1, ESPN shows. Everybody's got the take on the whatever, and it's like, I don't know how you just parachute in on Wednesday and have like the take that's greater than everyone's take. And so,
but your takes are usually great.
Well, I really, the thing for me is I really want to do an interview show, and you know, that's what I was passionate about. You know, and we did some stuff on that show that I thought was really cool. I don't know if it should have been every week, but like we had Nas and Durant together for a half hour. It was fucking awesome. Like I love that.
Gladwell and Cuban.
Yeah. So I think there was a show that would have worked within what we had, but it was just too late. Once you stumble, it's really hard to get it back. It's almost like a football season, like Carolina.
How's your relationship with ESPN now?
You know,
wasn't a pretty breakup.
No, it was not.
But they have to have some type of, like, you were there for so long, you created so much for them, you brought a lot to ESPN, so I would think that at least there was some type of
it's
respect.
not great. It's really not a relationship, but I don't think it's as acrimonious as it was. Some really weird shit happened the last couple of years, you know, and I guess like when you have some distance from it and you look back, you're like, oh, I understand why that happened, but in the moment, you know, you take something like when they got rid of Wilbon. I was on the NBA show with Wilbon, Jalen, and Magic, and we all liked each other. And they got rid of Wilbon for a couple reasons, but mainly because the PTI ratings were going down, and they felt like he was too split between the two shows. And PTI is their biggest show, and they just got rid of him, and they went and got Doug Collins. And Magic took it really personally. And Magic was owning the Dodgers at that point, and he was, you know, the Dodgers had just made the playoffs. He had the season coming up. He was all Dodgers, and he was just, Magic's like a billionaire. He was like, fuck it, I don't want to do this.
Magic went one-on-one with HIV and won.
Yeah, and Magic is one of the greatest people I've ever been around day to day. But when he left, and he left, a lot of the reason he left was because they handled the Wilbon thing so badly, and he loved Wilbon. Like, you just saw him and Wilbon got back together on this Saturday show, and then some people in Bristol tried to plant that I was the reason. Like, I was in Magic. Magic was a power struggle between. I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from? And I never even met Doug Collins. So when stuff like that happens, and you're working for a company and they're planning stuff to make you look bad, that's when I was like, man,
I will say 90%.
This is not a good place.
90% of the negative stuff I hear about Bill Simmons comes from people from ESPN. Like, they say you were difficult. And
yeah, all I did was try to do good shit for them, you know. And like, you look at Grantland and 30 for 30 and all these different places that I worked for, and everybody got along great. Like, even my TV show, you know. It's weird. ESPN is a place that they never want anybody to get their own little fiefdom of power, basically.
Gotcha.
Fiefdom. They always want the brand.
A Tribe Called Quest.
Fiefdom, I know. They want the brand to win, and I do think I hit a point there when I had Grantland and 30 for 30 going at the same time. I was on the NBA show. I definitely had a lot of power, and I was in LA, and you have people in Bristol who are like, "Fuck this guy." Like, I don't know.
So they don't want anybody to be bigger than the brand of ESPN, basically.
Yeah, and by the way, nobody's going to be bigger than the brand. The brand's an $8 billion brand,
right.
Yeah.
you know. And what's wrong with? It's weird because they operate a little bit like how the NFL operates, and the NFL doesn't want any player basically to have any identity whatsoever. Like, you take your helmet off after a touchdown, it's a penalty. You celebrate after a touchdown, you get a penalty. Like, there's this coded racism to it that I think is really fucked up.
Oh, break that down. Coded racism?
Yeah.
Okay, break it down.
Well, why do they care so much about how people behave after they've succeeded in a football game? What is that?
Gotcha.
Like, why can't I
like, you know
celebrate
black people
my
going to dance.
touchdown,
You know we're
like-
going to show out.
Well, it's, I think it would be white people too, but just in general, like there's an expressiveness, and I think it's one of the reasons that people have responded to the NBA so much, because the NBA has always blended, for better and worse, black culture in sports, and race has been, the most fascinating thing about the NBA since the 1950s, when they only allowed like one black guy per team. Like they had all these rules, and Russell comes in, he makes it horizontal. Wilt comes in, Oscar, and the attitude in the 60s and 70s is basically like, oh my God, the black guys are taking over the NBA. And you saw it with the TV ratings. And you read these stories. There's some fucked up stories.
The NBA did have one moment.
A couple.
One moment when they pushed back, and that was the AI era.
Yeah, Allen Iverson.
They
Well, that's the
definitely-
90s. But if you
Even
go,
Jordan with the shoes. Remember, they didn't want them to wear certain color shoes. They fined them with the shoes, and AI with the hair and with the jewelry.
there's this amazing story in Sports Illustrated in the late 70s where the ratings are going down in the NBA, and they're trying to figure it out. And the whole premise of the story is the NBA is too black. What do we do? And if you read it now, it's like a historical document of really people thought this way.
What year was this?
This was like, I'm gonna say 1979. I mean, you had the NBA from 78 to 83. They were tape delayed the finals, so the finals are being played not on television.
Right.
And then at 11:30 they would just show a tape of the game, and that's how people saw like the 1980 finals. They had Kareem versus Dr. J. That's like a dream. That's like LeBron versus Steph Curry. And they're tape delaying it. They didn't even give a shit. And it wasn't Magic and Bird came in. They saved it. And then it led to Jordan, all that stuff. But then you saw the second backlash in the mid-'90s, which had a lot to do with the hip-hop era and just the expressiveness of that. And the league's like, oh, shit. What are we gonna do? Like, look at these haircuts these guys have. Look at the way they're dressed when they don't play.
Cornrows and tattoos.
Oh my God, Allen Iverson was the scariest thing that happened in the league.
Yeah.
Because they were like, what is this? How do we sell this? We need like somebody like Magic who appeals to everybody. Right. I saw it at Celtic games. You had when Iverson came in, there were people
He
like
was a star.
he was a star, but there were some people
the-
like, look at his hair. Why is he doing that? Why does he have all those tattoos?
But he had
all the
so much
jewelry.
influence on the youth.
He had a lot of
though.
influence on the urban culture.
You didn't see that in a lot of those cities. I thought, I ride for Iverson for life.
Me too.
I saw him single-handedly once say fuck you to a ref after a first technical and first of all, he yelled fuck you to ref, technical. And he started walking to the ref like this, and the ref was going to give him the second technical, and Iverson started walking to him, and the guy put the whistle down, which I've never seen in my life. Like, Iverson had such a intensity to him, like you could feel it. You could feel it in the stands. I've never seen anybody like that.
That story you just told shows how ridiculous racism is, though. Because if you think about it, imagine what the NBA would be now without black people. So at one point, somebody wrote an article saying that it was a problem because there was so many black people in the NBA.
Well, you had, I mean, they really did think it was a problem.
Yeah.
And it probably was to some degree. You're talking about 40 years ago, and I think America was a lot more racist probably in the late 70s than it was now. But, drugs was a big problem for the league in the early 80s. That's why there's so much talent right now. And everybody's like, wow, what a talent boom. You got all your main dudes like LeBron and Curry. You have the older guys. Some of them just retired, but then, but you still have like that Wade generation and Carmelo, those guys. And then you have these young guys like Giannis, Anthony Davis. All these dudes are Porzingis. All these guys are lights out. And it's the most talent they've probably had in 20 years. And there are reasons for why the talent comes and goes. And drugs were the big reason in the late 70s, early 80s. Like cocaine took out a bunch of dudes.
Now, what do you think about the dress code? Because, the dress code is still serious. They didn't let Cam play, a quarter because he didn't have a tie on?
That's not what that was about.
First of all, Cam's been violating the dress code his whole career. Okay, it had nothing. I don't know.
So what was that about? That's what they said.
I think that was. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. To me, that was like a culmination of somebody who was acting like he was above the rules for the whole season, and the coach finally saying, "I have to do something." But my thing is,
now do it when they're losing. He wouldn't have did it when they were last year.
yeah, but if you're gonna do it, do it. Bench him for the game. Like your season's over. I have kids. If I tell my son, that's it, you're going to your room for 2 minutes. What lesson is he going to learn?
Right.
You actually have to take something away from somebody or embarrass them in some way. I don't know. I didn't agree with how they handled it. I thought they just made everything worse. He's clearly, not to sound like the sports take people, but he's clearly having issues with, he wants to be a huge celebrity and a star and all these things. But when you're the quarterback, and you're the leader of the team, and you're supposed to be selfless, and you're supposed to have everybody's back, and you're supposed to pass credit along. I think that's tough for the quarterback position. I don't know how that. It's a tough one to juggle.
Yeah.
Look at Dak. Dak was getting commercial. I read this story about how they offered Dak some commercial, and he said he didn't want to do it because it would distract from Sunday's game. And he's just very about the team. I'm just about Sunday, and that's it. And I think when you do that as a quarterback, you win. And when you're doing the stuff that some of the stuff Cam does, if you're winning, it's great. But when you're 4-8,
yeah, it's not too good.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Now, what do you say to people who say you don't translate the TV well?
They might be right. My show just got canceled.
The podcast is great. You're a great writer.
Yeah. I thought we did some good stuff on the NBA show, especially the first year. I had fun at the draft. I think a lot of it depends on what the vehicle is.
By the way, a lot of people at ESPN, as soon as the show got canceled, HBO, they were like, he's never was good on TV.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting about that is I didn't want to come back to Countdown for the second year, and they were all lobbying me because it was brutal to do that show. It was like 55 times a year. You're getting up at 6:30 on Sunday morning to do the 9:30. You're on the road for 5 weeks. I didn't want to do it again, and they all lobbied for me to do it again. So I was like, well, what about all the emails I have?
Terrible.
Yeah, 2013 when you were whatever. But, I don't know. I love doing the podcast. I love the long-form stuff.
The freedom of everything that you get to do now.
Maybe TV's too structured for you.
I don't know. I think with a half-hour weekly show especially, and I knew this going into it, you have to be a performer. You just have to. Like, look at all the people that have succeeded. It's all people who are like these characters. Even somebody like Sam B, who I think that show's great. Like,
Who the hell is Sam B?
She's a performer. She's on TBS.
Oh, yeah, she got the late night show.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Or like Oliver. Oliver can stare at the camera for 30 minutes and just do his thing and do all that stuff. And I don't know.
You're a performer. What are you performing now?
I like playing off people, though.
Yeah. So maybe you need a good co-host.
Yeah. My favorite stuff I've ever done was with Jalen. Like, that was my dude.
Take the podcast. Televise the podcast.
Well, there's probably a bunch of stuff we're gonna do down the road. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean, I love playing off people, and I try to create a show where you play it off people, but it's really hard.
So when you go back and watch Any Given Wednesday, what do you say? What's your critique?
Oh man,
Bill Simmons at home, minding his business, nobody's around, just you and the TV.
Well, I haven't watched since it got canceled.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to do the Belichick. I'm on to Cincinnati. Trying to move on to the next thing.
Got you.
But yeah, I mean, there's some stupid stuff that I would do over again, but that's life.
Right.
When you guys did the
learn
Breakfast
from
Club
it.
the first year,
Oh,
It's terrible.
I'm sure you would have loved
We
it.
almost got canceled.
We almost got
we
fired. No,
almost got canceled.
seriously.
We might have
We
been
were
one
hanging
show
in there.
away.
Ray J saved us. You know Ray J?
Do I know Ray J?
You did coke with Ray J before?
Huh?
Yo-
Ray
Ray
J's the
Stop
Kim
it.
Kardashian sex tape.
That's
There
right,
you go.
That's
There
how
we
I know
go.
Ray J. The worst sex tape anyone's ever made. It's like, is that a leg? What is that? Oh, is that?
That's what he did for us, man. Thank God.
Ray, so what did he do when he came on?
Charlamagne,
He
sex
was
tape.
drunk and high as hell. He was on coke and all kind of stuff. He called the radio one morning and just went in on a rant to a rapper named Fabulous.
We put him on live.
And
by
it was
accident.
amazing.
He said he wouldn't curse, and then the first thing he said was "fucking fuck." Like,
He told Fabulous, I got goons that will turn you around and rape you in your booty.
he did.
That's strong.
Ratings gold.
Isaiah Thomas didn't say that to me.
He said it.
But you guys hit a good spot on this show, and I don't know when it happened because I've only
You
lived
can't
through
go from
this
talking
show.
about guys getting raped to saying hit a good spot. That's just Bill.
I just did it.
Okay.
I've only experienced the show through video and YouTube and stuff like that, but I like that you're in that Howard Stern zone of you can just say whatever you want, and people don't go nuts or I can't believe it. Like you
Bill,
somehow
just talked about
cross that
5 guys
invisible
trying
line.
to jump me outside the station, Bill.
Well, I'm not talking about your physical safety. I'm saying you could have a guest on, and the guest comes in, and the guest knows everything's on the table.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a really hard place to get to.
Except for
that's
Birdman. Birdman didn't.
but that's why he left,
I
because
think
he knew everything was on the
people
table.
also know the show is syndicated in 50 markets in the morning, so it's a lot of exposure. So you kind of want to do it, even if
Right.
you
And
know
you
it's gonna
kind of
be-
accept the deal.
right.
Because like this show, Stern, there's a couple others where the guest comes on and they're just like, I'm here. I know they're going to bring shit up.
It's a great sweet
I
spot.
can't hide it. And it's a really hard place to get to. So you guys should be proud.
Well,
but you
we
guys
appreciate-
should be on in Los Angeles, though.
Hopefully
There
soon.
you go, Bill.
Hopefully soon.
Sell
Put
it.
in
I
the
don't
air.
get
understand
going.
it.
Put it in the air.
Why are you in Vegas but not Los Angeles?
Hopefully soon.
What do I have to do?
Shout out to
Anything?
Big Boy does mornings, so
Yeah,
we
Big Boy
like to
does
go before
mornings.
him or wherever.
On the iHeart station in
On the
LA,
iHeart
Big
station.
Boy does mornings. Real
Couldn't you,
92.3
but
LA.
couldn't you just do like 1 hour of like the best interview every day?
Oh,
or
we could
something
probably
and
do
follow
live
it?
before him because of the time
Yeah, live
difference.
before him,
So
yeah.
we would be on
From 2 to 6.
Yeah.
You're not up 2 in the morning.
But just have an hour.
to 6.
Just grab your best interview and put them on that way.
Okay, we'll try.
We like
don't
your
know.
idea.
From
Now,
your
people-
mouth to God's ears, Bill.
People in LA like listening to the radio. It's funny. Like you listen to sports radio and they're just doing Lakers. They're like, hey guys, what do you think about Mozgov? Do you think like it's last shit like that? You're like, wow, this is like there's a lot of stuff going on.
Now,
I
let's do
got-
predictions before we leave. Before you leave, predictions.
Cowboys, Patriots, Super Bowl?
No way. NFL, let him talk. Don't put anything in his mind. Giants, Patriots.
I think my team's done.
the Giants go beat.
Okay, so
And
no
this
Patriots.
might be a reverse jinx, but the Gronk thing was a murder. Gronk was the guy that made the team the cameraman's nodding right there. Is he a Pats fan? Oh. Gronk was the guy. Whoa, I just knocked my chair down. Gronk was the guy who made us special. It's the equivalent of like if you took Zeke Elliott off the Cowboys, would you feel as good about them winning the Super Bowl?
I don't answer silly hypothetical
Why?
questions.
It's not
would-
silly,
I
though.
like Zeke is on the Cowboys.
Right.
He's
If you
there.
had Alfred Morris instead of Zeke, you wouldn't feel as good about your Super Bowl
why are we
chances. That's
talking
what
about
Gronk
stuff
did.
like this?
So what's your
Gronk-
prediction?
You don't jinx my team.
Cowboys Raiders.
Oh, that'd be ratings gold.
I think this Raiders team can win anywhere they
Raiders
go,
are
and they're
good.
probably getting a 2 seed. I think the Chiefs are a sleeper.
Chiefs won on some BS last week. They
Does it
won on
ever
some
happen
BS.
like that though?
What?
Yeah, right now it looks like a Cowboys Raiders Super
No,
Bowl.
you don't
It
know.
Yeah, it never happens. Like
The thing
that.
about the NFL, you just got to get in the tournament, and then weird shit happens. Every Super Bowl, the Patriots. What was the one when we beat the last one, Super Bowl 49? We were down 28-14 to Baltimore in round 2, and got like a wide receiver option pass. Remember they were running those weird tackle eligible plays, and all of a sudden we kind of scrapped it on. We probably shouldn't have won that game. I think these teams are all really close. And the thing I like about Dallas though is if they're up 3 with like 7 minutes left, I think you can finish the game because of the line and because of Elliott and the way Prescott delivers on third down,
Unless
stuff
it's
like
the
that.
Giants.
But the league is the worst it's been. Like just from competitively, like you look at all the advanced metrics, all this stuff. It reminds me of. Remember that year when the Cardinals played the Steelers?
Yep.
When the Cardinals miraculously made the Super Bowl and they played the Steelers, they had this great game, but nobody was good that year. And it was just like, oh, wow, the Cardinals are in the Super Bowl. This is crazy. Like, could the Lions make the Super Bowl? Like, yeah,
It's
why
a
not?
sloppy year for
Very
NFL.
sloppy.
Very sloppy.
But
year
nobody
for
will
NFL.
care if a team like the Cowboys and the Raiders get to the Super Bowl. That's 2 historic franchises.
The uniforms, the legacy, all the shit would be. But I mean, people love the Cowboys. You look at the ratings. The Thanksgiving was 35 million.
Yep.
Last week they had the biggest Thursday night game. I think one of the Sunday night games from 4 weeks ago was like the biggest Sunday night.
America's
People-
team, baby.
They
They
are
love him
literally
and they
America's
love to
team.
hate him too, though. And some people want to watch for them
Oh,
to
yeah.
lose. For
I can't
real.
believe you said Gronk is what makes the Patriots special, as if Tom Brady doesn't exist. That's why he needs to retire.
Tom Brady's my dude, but you know, watch the offense. Who is the star skill position guy that we have?
Tom Brady.
Right, Tom Brady, but he's starting to
Starting to
Edelman.
be the winningest quarterback of all time. He's getting better.
I'm a little. Here's what I worry about with Brady, and I ride for Brady to death. But he's 39. We got 8 weeks left. It's cold. You know, like he sprained his ankle.
One day
He's
it's just
limping
going to happen.
around.
Yeah.
No, it's just like it's tough, man. I played basketball until I was 44, and from like 41. Not to compare myself to Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback ever, but you know, when you hit 40, you start. You wake up in bed. You wake up one morning. You're like, I can't move my neck. What
It's
happened?
going to happen, yeah.
You know, or like you twist your ankle and it doesn't heal in 3 weeks, and you know your body starts telling you stuff, and that's what I worry about with him. I think he could play longer than anybody, and the stuff that he's done at age 39, nobody's ever done before. He's got 18 touchdowns and 1 pick right now.
And last question, NBA.
Yeah,
Who's winning it?
that's an important question.
It's too early to tell.
No, you can make a prediction.
The thing, and I did this with when I was on Countdown, and you're on every Friday or Sunday, and you're like, oh, Miami, I don't know, they're in trouble, and then the season's so long, every week it changes. I still would pick Cleveland.
I think Cleveland too. Cleveland look good.
I still think LeBron, the last thing on his list would be, you know, another MVP.
Kyrie looks amazing. LeBron looks great.
Yeah, another MVP, one more title. Now he's in the Jordan conversation. Now he might not win the MVP because Westbrook's out of his mind.
Westbrook
and
is
everybody
doing
loves the
things that's
stats.
unheard of. Goodness gracious.
The thing is though, when you're turning the ball over like 10 or 11 times in a game, I do feel like there should be more of a backlash for that. It's a lot of times to
Put up a lot
turn
of
the
triple
ball
doubles,
over to another. No, I get it. The rebounds, I am just perplexed by because he went from like 5 rebounds a game and he's getting 18, 19.
Performance enhancing drugs.
No, it's not.
Oh, wow. See, that's the thing. You talk about the NBA's biggest fear right now, it would be that. Because nobody's ever been able to explain to me why PEDs wouldn't help NBA players.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? It wouldn't help you get more endurance? It wouldn't help you to be able to recover faster from injuries? Like, I don't get that. Everybody's like, no, it wouldn't help. It's like, why? Why? So if I hurt something on my body and I could come back 3 weeks earlier than I would have, I wouldn't take that?
Right.
And all these guys are crazy competitive, so I don't know. They've been very lucky with that, I will say.
Well, we appreciate you joining us.
I love this.
Thank you for joining us. We
Bill
appreciate it.
Simmons.
That was good for me. I learned a lot.
You learned a lot about sports.
Did you make up with Chris Collinsworth?
Yeah, he came on my podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. I was in a tough one with that because I'm 47 years old. So it's like, do I fire back and have a whole Twitter war with somebody who's 58 years old?
Bill tweeted Chris some critique of some analysis.
It wasn't even a critique.
And then he tweeted Bill back like, "Oh, that's why your show got canceled."
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
So then it's like,
very
all right, do I bring back the nukes or because I like Collinsworth, and it was like, all right, I'll just have him on because I like Collinsworth, but because he was talking during the Seattle Pats game, he was raving about Seattle's offensive line. I'm like, our defense isn't good. Like the reason their offensive line looks good is because we don't have a pass rush. So I tweeted something about that. He took it personally.
It happens.
We made up.
Good.
You made up with a bunch of people. Who haven't you made up with, Charlamagne?
I've made up with.
Who's your biggest feud right now?
Drake. Drake is the only person.
Jake sent him battles.
Drake's
a good dude.
Yeah. Everybody else, still open.
I did.
Pretty much.
Drake did Countdown, and then we did an ESPYs thing. We actually shot an ESPYs piece together. Yeah. And we got along. When I saw him at the ESPYs party, somebody was, we were all standing around in some circle, and Drake was there. And be like, hey, Drake, do you know Bill Simmons? And Drake gave me one of these. Came in high. I was really happy. Came in high and gave me the hug. I was like, all right, I'm in with Drake. This is nice.
Yeah, that's that. You my guy. Oh, I fuck with you.
Yeah, it was great. I was excited for that.
As Bill Simmons, it's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. Every weekday morning. Tune in.